Hi there.
Hi there.
Here we are.
How's things in the
A lot of
upper?
feedback. Do
Yeah,
you hear any feedback?
a little bit here and there, but it's not
Yeah.
bad.
Well, we'll be with you in just a second. We're Laura and Dave Butler of Work Life Consulting. Hold on just a sec. And we are certainly in this together. So we are Laura and Dave Butler of Work Life Consulting, and we excel, and our focus is on leadership, helping people with emotional mastery, build confidence, look at how do we work better with our teams, and we discuss and share practical tools to help busy entrepreneurs, business professionals, and business owners take things to the next level, whatever that level is for you. And each week we have these different topics where we talk about things that we hear about throughout the week from our clients, things that come to mind for us as we share in these work-life discussions. And today the topic is help the world by helping yourself. So for a quick agenda, what we're going to cover today is looking at how the emotions we share and sort of play out in front of others impact our relationships overall, and the importance of not ignoring what you need personally. How do you get motivated, and how to find your true self? So we can cover all that in 5 minutes, right, Dave?
Well, I think for me, where I'd start with the whole thing is, of course, is my theater background, which I start with everything because that was sort of laid the groundwork for my next 30, 40 years. Obviously, all the world's a stage, as William Shakespeare once said, because as we show up, it's a little like showing up on stage. If you think of your daily activities as part of your show, how you show up is also going to affect the people around you and the audience, and getting your message across, and the kind of world you want to create, the environment you want to have around you, the kind of interactions that you want to have with people. It really starts with you. So, for the first things we study as an actor is how to be able to go inside, and how to get connected with where you're at, and how to leave some things at the door. I mean, you may not want to bring everything with you because you just had a fight with somebody. You don't want to walk into the meeting carrying all that energy, all that negative energy. So,
Well, I think that yeah, and how we help the world overall. We forget that our individual contributions to the discussion has ripple effects, and it spreads out among everybody around us and beyond. So when we were thinking about this topic, you dove into Gandhi, and certainly, I think what we, and I say the proverbial we, overlook is the power that we have to do this and shift our mindset and change the world by changing yourself. So
yeah, because as you change yourself, the whole world's going to look different to you anyway. So you're going to respond differently to it, and as a result, you get different responses because the world is being approached in a different way.
yeah, so I think it's number one, you can be the change you want to see. You have to be the one to be able to say that that's a compromise of my values. It's not the direction that I think is the most effective. And number two, to realize we have a lot that we can do. We're in control.
Yeah, this is delved into quite extensively by Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book about logotherapy. He called it, being able to get in touch with yourself, because his experience in the Nazi concentration camps in World War II led him to realize that no matter what they did to him, he always had the choice to be able to see it the way he wanted to see it. I'm not saying it was easy or that it was, I'd wish it on anyone. But his point was, what he came out of there with is the fact that you really can choose what it is that other people do to you. I think one of my favorite phrases that he talks about is, nobody can hurt you. Nobody can hurt you unless you give them permission.
Well, you are in control. Absolutely. And even in those extreme circumstances, are you talking about man's search for meaning?
Yeah.
But
Right.
in those extreme circumstances, how do people, just using the euphemism, that making lemons out of lemonade, making lemonade out of lemons, I guess is what it is. It's just looking at the other side. How
Yeah.
do we look at things differently?
Yeah,
And
reframe what we're looking at in such a way that we could actually interpret it in a different way. I had an interesting conversation with a up and coming leader this morning, where he was feeling a lot of emotional energy about something that was going on with the organization. And I said, well, what are you doing to change that? And as we talked about it, he realized that he was, had let them sort of go forward with something that they wanted to do without him putting a stake in the ground and saying, that's not what I want.
he's in control.
He's really much more in control than he thinks he is.
Right. And what I try to do with clients that I work with is not let them think that they have to wait for permission. They have a lot that they can do and make a big difference. For those of you who are just joining us halfway through or listening to the recording, we're Dave and Laura Butler of Work Life Consulting, and today we're talking about helping the world by helping yourself. So number 3, which is my favorite, one of the things that we think when we think about helping the world by helping yourself, is an extension of that control discussion. This, if it's to be, it's up to me. I am the only one who can really affect my outcome. And I don't, it's not going to help me or anybody else if I blame somebody, although of course I do, but I realize that doesn't get anywhere. Doesn't help me, doesn't help them.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I learned fairly early on in my own experience is that just the situation doesn't have to control me.
Right.
It's not so much what happens to us, it's what we do with what happens to us. It's how we respond. And if we can have enough of a space, a little emotional mastery space to be able to hold off on responding to certain things, we may find better ways to do it. So it's that stimulus response idea. It's we don't have to respond the way the stimulus necessarily looks.
Right. And, the other piece is when we think about if it's to be, it's up to me, or taking control, we can also do that with a lighter approach. I mean, when was the last time we ask ourselves, when was the last time you did something for yourself? It could be just taking a nap, which isn't a big just. I mean, that's a lot to step away and say, I need a break, or make sure that you do something fun, or do something that means something to you. It's rather than the grind, the daily, stress bucket, because what happens, we can get overloaded and overwhelmed, and we have to take a daily assessment and look at what's on our plate. What are we doing? Because in the world today, we've got so much going on. We're hearing so much more now about the ongoing stress
Every day.
And it's not even the stress, it's the change, which eventually could lead to stress. But it's the transition that this whole experience for all of us is, has been put in our laps, to figure out.
Yeah, in our lifetimes, I don't think we've ever seen such a fundamental change. Even though there's been a lot of fundamental changes, the advent of the internet, for example, and things that have rocked the world for everyone. But this change of the remote work, the ability to work remotely, the ability to rethink how even our jobs are put together, and where we live and how we contribute, it's a major change for many people.
Well, I think the question that people can ask themselves as they think about this stress bucket is, are you being true to yourself, or are you letting the stress manage you? And I think that makes us feel much stronger, much more in touch with what we need to look at, because no man is an island, or woman for that matter. So we're all looking at, how do we step ahead of it? How do we and I think the most important thing is to know your needs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
certainly it's something that in our tool of choice, which is the Berkman method, it's the key factor that sets it apart.
Sure.
Is to understand when we, especially in these times of disruption, if we know what we need, how to manage it, how to motivate ourselves, then we can be more productive and more effective.
And I'm getting pretty excited about the upcoming program we're putting together, Thriving in the Virtual World, because I think we're going to be able to address a lot of these issues for a lot of people. I think it's going to be really interesting, maybe 2 or 3 session program that we're going to offer. I hope we get it out to everybody as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we've done with it is there are a couple of opportunities with this approach moving into this workshop that we're going to be offering. But the first is to get an assessment of where you're at. What the quiz will give some indication of level of stress. So it gives a starting point. And then in addition, if you're new to the work-life community, you'll be welcomed into the sequence of information about the topic, which includes an action guide and some other tips to follow up with that. So, and also an opportunity to join the wait list. And we'll be announcing very shortly the date and when that's all going to occur.
And I think as importantly, we're also going to be offering the Berkman, at least the basic Berkman, as part of the program. And that can give people information that'll change their world for them.
Yes. So it's and as we said earlier, it's so timely because this is not going away. And I think the good news is that people are looking already at, let's get outside the box. It's going to be an opportunity for some pretty interesting, innovative approaches to how the world is going to work well. I saw something recently from The Economist that said that before this, 5% of the workforce was remote. Now it's over 60%.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to stay that way and even
get more.
Even more. Yeah, yeah.
So,
you see hear announcements every day.
Yeah, and so that was slightly after the pandemic has sort of evolved into still we don't know what. So if it's 60% right now, you can bet that it's going to be more so.
Well, I can imagine the change in resumes. Resumes in the next couple of years are going to start having a section called has the competency to be able to remain effective even in a remote setting, because companies are actually going to start hiring for that.
Exactly. So, this is, I think, an ongoing topic. Please look for either the quiz by the link that's provided here, or you can look at our website, visit our website, and you can have an opportunity to download the quiz or just join our list there. So today we talked about the 3 things: be the change you want to see, that you're in control. If it's to be, it's up to me. If you're watching this as the replay, those are the 3 things that were main topics. Next week, we're going to be talking about investing in yourself. So this will be an ongoing conversation about how do we look at these various things that are coming at us so quickly. So thank you for watching our weekly Wednesday netcast. And please let us know. Please share a comment if there are specific topics that you would like to hear more on. It does not have to be the remote world, although I think everybody is kind of thinking about that these days. But we look forward to providing you additional information. Any closing thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to close with another quote. I like my quotes. Marcel Proust once said that the true adventure is not in exploring new worlds, it's in discovering the world we have with new eyes.
Perfect. That's a great way to end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next week.